Okay, so we've got integral here, the integral of 3x squared e to the 5x with respect to x. And we can see that this is integration by parts because we've got a product of functions. We have 3x squared times e to the 5x. So let's just remind ourselves of the by parts formula. So we know that the integral of u dv is uv minus the integral of v du. Okay, so let's set up the first by parts. So we have u equals v equals du equals and dv equals. And notice I've missed out the dx's. It should be du by dx, dv dx here. Also, there should be some dx's underneath there, but there's no need to write that when you're doing the actual by parts. So we're going to fill in this diagonal here. That's u dv. And the 3x squared should go on top. So that's 3x squared. And we fill this e to the 5x. And now we can differentiate this way to give us 6x. We'll integrate this way to give us 1/5 e to the 5x. And now let's apply the by parts formula. So this equals uv, which is this here. So that's 3/5 x squared e to the 5x minus v du, the integral of v du, that's this diagonal here. So that's the integral of 6/5x e to the 5x dx. Okay, so that's we've done the by parts once, and we see that the new integral still can't be integrated. It still requires another by parts. Although it's become simpler, the x squared has now turned into an x, so it's a bit simpler, but we still need to do by parts. So let's do another u and v. So u, v, du, and dv. So 6/5 x is the u, and e to the 5x will be the dv. And now we can differentiate this way to give a 6/5, and we'll integrate this way to get a 1/5 e to the 5x. Okay, so what we should do, I recommend that we should copy everything over here. When I personally do this myself, I don't bother writing this again. I do it at the end, but to avoid mistakes, I think it's best for students to copy this. So we get 3/5 x squared e to the 5x minus, and we want to work this out. This is where we're going to do the by parts. We should put a big square bracket and do the by parts within it. So it should be uv, that's here. So that's 6/25 x e to the 5x minus the integral of this diagonal, which is 6/25 e to the 5x equals, and now we're going to integrate, but also at the same time it's not too hard to expand the brackets, so we just have to make sure we apply this minus to both these terms. Oops, I forgot here the integral. So this should have been the integral, because we have to integrate. So we're going to integrate and apply the minus at the same time. So here we get a 3/5 x squared e to the 5x, and we apply the minus, so we get a minus 6/25 x e to the 5x, and we have a minus and minus, so that's a plus, and when we integrate this it will remain positive, so that's going to be a plus 6/125 e to the 5x plus c at the end. And that's the answer. That should be acceptable as the answer, but we can simplify this just a little bit. There's e to the 5x common factor. So we'll pull this out and we get 3/5 x squared minus 6 over 25x plus 6 over 125 plus c. So either of these should be the correct answer.